Welcome to Politics Done
Welcome to
Right.
Politics.
My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being with us. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning, Texas. Good morning, the United States of America. And of course, good morning to the world. How are all my peeps doing? I know everybody is doing fine. We are going to have a great show today with a great guest and all that entails. But of course, before we get started, we must send control right back to the control room where our two geniuses reside. Good morning, my favorite geniuses.
It always makes me smile and makes me laugh. It doesn't take much to be a genius in Nick Berto's book. Apparently not.
Wait,
Making
let me.
Harry happy.
Whoa. That is absolutely false. And you know, I love you,
That's
Howard, but
false.
that is false. I have two great geniuses. We have two great geniuses in that studio because you guys can make tin cans and strings do magic. That's the
Well,
definition of genius, folks. Anyway,
well, that we can. We can make tin cans and string work. And I want to make Harry happy this morning. I played some Peter White for him. That's
oh.
Caravan of Dreams. One of my favorite songs, man. I miss my jazz show on Sunday. I do. Every time I hear that song.
But you know, you have
Anyway,
your own show now, sir. You have
I
your
know, but
own
it's not a smooth
show.
jazz show.
But you can
It's
also include that.
Well, I can, but it's a Rockin'
Yeah.
Friday show and taking in requests. I love to take requests on the radio. I do. I used to do it all the time on one of the stations I worked at over at IH. We did
Hmm.
a all request weekend, which was
Uh-huh.
always fun to listen to what the folks want to hear, and I just want people to be happy with when they're listening to the radio, because listening to the radio makes me happy. And listening to Egberto's show makes me even happier because it's working.
Yeah,
Now,
we try. We try. But you know
yeah.
what? So folks, let's before you continue, my brother, folks, remember on Fridays at 9:30, you got to check out El Senor Howard Reynolds. He's doing his new show. We got to make sure and check that out. And also, we got to support the brother. Go ahead, man.
Okay, well, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel when they came up with my talent. They said, "Oh my goodness."
Oh my!
Yeah, we have some wisdom from Jack this morning, so let's get to that, okay?
Okay. All right. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Buenos dias, hermanos. We're fine.
Okay. You don't have to change the world. Just try to make a difference where you are. Love your family, work hard, live your passion, pursue your dreams, and have a blessed day.
I think that is apropos. I love that. I love that. Me gusta muchísimo. Anyway, folks, this morning we are honored again. Once again, it is Thursday, and if it's Thursday, what it means, El Señor
On drive.
Aquino. Right. It's also fun drive. I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. I promise. I promise. I promise. But I don't want to. I want the folks to know that we're giving them a show too. And today we have with us the one and only Houston activist. I call him a Houston activist, but he's an activist from all over because he's a democracy activist. If you're a democracy activist, you're a Houston activist, you're a Texas activist, you're a United States activist, you're a world activist. Neil Aquino, how are you doing this morning, my dear brother?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me this morning, Egberto, and good morning to everyone across the earth.
Yeah, well, we are going to have a great show. Neil is going to talk to us today about some local politics, some international politics, some national politics. We're going to get involved with that. We also have Pete Aguilar, who had some interesting statements when he nominated Akeem Jeffries yesterday again. We may play that, depend time allowing. And of course, we're going to talk about the Jim Jordan bullying tactics to really try. I mean, it sounds like he's a mafioso. He's acting just like a mafia guy as he tries to bully himself into the speakership, a speakership that is suddenly looking more unlikely that he can get. But before we get started, folks, I want to remind you all that we are in Fund Drive right now. What that means is I have to raise for this particular show $5,000 during this fund drive. And I think I calculated that was about 300 or 300 something dollars a day that I have to raise. Over the last few days, we've come a bit short, actually quite a bit short. But you know what? You guys have been, we've been getting the calls to give small donations. We had a few large donations, but we need them all. So please give us a call at 713-526-5738. And to donate, you hit extension number 1. And to speak on air, you hit extension number 2. I tell you, special mention for those who first hit number 1 to donate, and then hit number 2, then call back and hit number 2 to communicate. If you do that, you're going to get special mention. And if you send me some info, I'll send you the Politics Done Right bumper sticker, the one that you see me showing on the screen right now. For those who don't know, we are also live. You can go to to facebook.com/KPFT Houston to see us live, to see Neil's handsome face as well. Or you can go to politicsandright.tv. But again, call 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, extension number 2 to be on air. I'd love you to call first and hit extension 1, and then call secondly and hit extension 2 and say, Berto, I donate. You haven't called my name yet. But before I even get to Neil, let me throw it back to the studio for them to tell you a bit more of some great offers that we have.
Oh, okay. I was upstairs checking on a stream.
Oh, okay.
You're streaming to my laptop. What we're doing tonight, Egberto, is the CEED organization is having an environmental mayoral debate. And we're going to cover that live tonight, starting at 6 o'clock with the pregame show, where we're going to take in callers and, folks to want to express their concerns about the mayoral debate and the environment. So we'll take in some calls. The guy from Gulf Streams, who comes on Monday, the environmental show, he's going to be here. Elise Bench will be here also to field calls. And then at 6:30, the debate starts. Nice. So we'll cover that live. Then we'll do a post-game show about, what you heard, what this meant, what the candidate said, et cetera. The usual post-game show wrap-up. And that will start at 8:30, I believe, tonight. It's all being carried live on the radio. But in the meantime, I'm checking out all the gear that I'm going to have to use to bring that thing to you. And so far, so good. More tin cans and string holding up. So that's where I was. So I didn't hear what you were doing, but Jack has the list of thank you gifts that you can pick up when you make a donation to KPFT at 713-526-5738, extension number 1. So Jack, take it away.
All right. There's lots of concerts out there to go see with your pledges. Listen to this one, The Fix at House of Blues. Remember that great 80s band? Yeah. The old 97s. Oh, that The Fix was gallery standing tickets at $120 pledge. The old 97s are at House of Blues December the 6th. 5 pairs of gallery standing tickets at $150 a pledge. We got McGonagall's Mucky Duck, November the 2nd. The early show is Jeff Plankenhorn, 1 pair of bar seats at $120. And then the 9:30 show at the Mucky Duck will be Pat Byrne with 1 pair of bar seats for $120.
Well,
that's one to go see.
And it would probably cost you more than that if you were to go out and buy tickets.
Yes.
So, folks, support KPFT. We've got some very fine thank you gifts. And, of course, the thank you gift is thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. So, well, thank you for that, guys. And don't forget the Politics Done Right t-shirt. It's a $100 contribution. Remember, all this goes to KPFT. 0 comes to me. everything goes to KPFT. So for those who call in 713-526-5738 and hit the number 1, ask for the T-shirt. The Politics Done Right T-shirt, I think it's $100 contribution. Let them know it's for Politics Done Right, that you're donated in the name of Politics Done Right, so that we'll be credited accordingly. You can also get the T-shirt for the KPFT. That I think it's also $100. And by the way, Coffee with Egberto Willis, a $250 contribution. Hey, it's not that I'm saying I'm worth $250, man. I'm just saying, hey, for being kind enough to give us $250, I want to sit down and have coffee, and you can talk and say whatever you want to talk about, whatever topic you want to talk about. I love politics, but anything that you want to talk about, we'll be ready to talk about. So that's 713-526-5738. Again, one more time, 713-526-5738. Hit extension 1 to donate. You want to talk live on air right now? Hit extension number 2. All right, Neil, let's get to you, my brother. How are you doing this morning? Oh, Neil, I think you're a bit frozen right now. Your internet may
I'm
be a
doing
bit, yeah, your internet is a bit flaky this morning, but go ahead. Okay.
Giant told me it was running. There's no company would they would, but I'm here talking about the Houston Democracy Project. The Houston Democracy Project. If you Google it, up. We're looking to strengthen, inspire, and organize pro-democracy coalitions in Houston and Harry. There's a daily blog with it, the Houston Democracy Project. Google them up. And I want to just, from what the geniuses said this morning, that forum this evening, the SEER Environmental Justice Program, that 30 if you want to attend. The debate's at 7. And Stefania Thomas Cole, the head of SEER, is the real deal. She's smart. And you listen to that on KPFT or go and see it yourself this evening.
Yeah,
I want to talk
go
about
ahead.
first are many municipal Democrats.
Wow, Lee, I'm gonna have to ask you, Lee, to come in and come back
I'm sorry, the delay got us there.
Yeah, no, let me just say this. I think right now we're having some internet issues with maybe your speed on your side. So I'm gonna ask you to log in and log back out again, like we did before, to see if we can improve that. And in the meantime, I'm going to jump to Jeff. So please log in and log back out, and then we'll take that. Jeff, come on in, my brother.
Hey, Egberto, how are you?
I am doing fine. Talk to me, Jeff.
Well, I listen to talk radio all day long. I listen to you in the morning to get one perspective, and I love listening to Michael Berry.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, the other day when you were talking to Bart, and you said you thanked him for paying his taxes,
mm-hmm.
and that kind of got underneath my skin. I mean, that whole progressive mentality is to spend money to, I agree we should help the poor, but it's people like us that pay the taxes, and I don't like paying taxes, so this is kind of irritating.
Let me ask you, Jeff. Let me see if I understand what you're saying. When Bart called in, I thanked Bart for paying taxes, which pretty much subsidize, as much as I paid 10 times what the in-state tuition was for the first few years of my college. I thanked Bart for having paid taxes that allowed me to go to the best university in Texas. And in addition to thanking Bart for that, I have been a very productive citizen that paid much more in taxes over that to support the next generation and the current generation. So what about that upsets you?
I agree with you on that. It should help, it should help certain people. I have no problem with that at all, but I don't think it should be, that we have all these silly little programs going on that the government's funding. Government's not the answer.
Okay,
It's
let me ask
personal
you what is the answer.
responsibility.
I agree with you. I mean, I disagree on that. I think government is the answer for certain things, and I think other things are the answers for other things. So, what do you think the government is not the answer for? You see, let me just say this, brother Jeff, and Neil. Thanks for, coming back. I'm going to get to you in a minute, but Jeff brings something interesting that we need to talk about, and you can chime in as well, please, Neil. But there's the slogan is always government is not the answer. Reagan made that big when he said government is not the answer, government is, or something like government is the problem,
So
something like
government,
that.
yeah,
That's what,
government is
yeah.
the problem.
So my question is, that is a common slogan that many people on the right like to use. What I never understand is, give me the specific programs or specific things that you think the government is a problem of. And then let's remove that and see what it does to what your taxes are to be. So, what do you think specifically government is not the answer for, that it is trying to be the answer to right now?
Well, I can give you what it's made for. It's, the government was federal government was made originally to take care of treaties, infrastructure.
Hmm.
No, not really infrastructure.
Well,
Treaties,
hmm
foreign policy, and a
hmm
standing military. Now it's
okay.
involved in your day to day life, which I don't think
So,
it should at all.
well, my question again, my brother, because first of all, where I disagree with you, that if you read the preamble says for the general welfare, okay, and that's a
Yeah,
very open-ended statement. For the general welfare is a very open-ended statement that I think give the government, we the people, and remember, the government is not some additional thing. The government is we the people, and we the people decide what we the people need, right? The dead men who wrote the Constitution were at least smart enough to put that in my humble opinion. And additionally, I don't know that the dead men who wrote the Constitution know much about what's going on right now. So I won't let the literal words from these dead men try to solve problems that didn't exist then, right? Don't you agree with that?
well, I don't, I agree with you on that to a certain extent. I mean, the technology and everything has moved so
Right,
progressively much since the founding fathers, not dead men,
right,
wrote the Constitution.
right.
You know,
There are dead
but
men, aren't
the
they?
government shouldn't be involved in private business, or telling people who and what they can, how they can run their business.
Uh,
I think that should
so
be up to
So let me
the
ask you this.
entrepreneurs.
Let me ask you this. Who owns the river that you swim in, or the ocean that you swim in? Who owns that?
No one owns it.
Okay, thank you. So let me ask you another question. Suppose I have a company and I make dioxin, a chemical that's bad for you,
Right?
and I start to throw all of that into the river that nobody owns, right? Do you want
I agree with you on that.
Oh,
There
thank you.
should
Okay,
be
let me.
something like that.
Good. So I'm glad. That is those are the things government are supposed to do, right? So there are
Yeah,
things that
but
you
they
may.
tax the hell out of small
Yeah.
business.
Right. Okay. Wait a minute, because the reason. Let me just say that the reason small businesses get taxed out of the smithereens. And by the way, remember, I am the owner of a company called Willie's Computer Software Company, which is actually now defunct. But I paid a ton of taxes on that, a lot of times more so than Exxon paid
You like
proportionally.
paying tax?
Hmm?
Did you
Right?
like paying the taxes?
Let me tell you, when I was making a lot of money in the business, I felt rewarded when I paid taxes. And let me tell you what it means, because I paid so much taxes, it meant that I was making so much money. So and I always felt a responsibility. Remember how you
Hello?
heard me thank Bart? I thanked
We
Bart.
lost.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh, I
I
did
hope.
lose him.
Oh, and I hope you can still hear me. Let's see. I know I'm still transmitting. Bart, I mean, Jeff, are you there? Okay, you need to
No,
call
we
back.
lost him.
Okay, yeah, let him. I hope he calls back. So if you reach him, call back. Anyway, Neil, you heard the conversation. Bring that into the concept of what you are going to talk about today.
Well, taxes are the price of civilization, right? That's a line that's been said,
Hmm.
and we see the impact. We had our revenue cap that we voted for short-sightedly in 2004 in Houston, and that's why our water mains keep breaking. Um, because of the drought, and so we're not able to keep up with our water mains, we're not able to keep up with our streets, we're not able to keep up with our parks or build equitable nice parks in every neighborhood because we don't have the revenue to do it. So I think you see daily here in Houston the impact of not raising enough money. And also, of course, we the police force gets 50 of our money, then consistently says it doesn't have, but we see the impact every day of not raising enough revenue, right here at home.
Right. Well, anyway, go ahead and let's while we still have your internet connection going with a little bit of clicks at here and there, tell us a little bit about what you specifically want to talk about today.
So I want to talk about our many Houston Democrats. There's about 13 Houston Democrats on the ballot who have, in our city elections, where early voting begins October 23rd, who've taken the endorsement of the Houston Police Officers Union. And I wanted to talk about that because it's not necessarily that they've taken the endorsement. The issue isn't the police itself, though there's a lot of issues with policing, but it's that our police union continues to support Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick, even after they call for elections to be redone based on nothing, or Alexander Miller, who was in court for months and months trying to undo the election in 2022. Um, with no reason. And so it's one thing to support these bad people before election day, but once they say that we're going to bypass multiracial democracy, we're not going to accept election results, think about the power of a police force, the power of a police union. And I think that those Democrats who take that endorsement and make such a point of having it have the obligation to ask those police unions, are you going to support the democracy? Will you toss overboard these candidates who will not accept election results? And for all of the emphasis we hear on public safety, what's a more critical matter of public safety than democracy itself? We envision our futures for ourselves and our families rooted in a free society, rooted in democracy, and we have a police union with all of that capacity to enforce authoritarian, making clear that it isn't a deal breaker for them, not a game changer for them, for the few. It's up to each of us to ask our elected Democrats or our Democratic candidates, will you ask the police union to not accept to not support election deniers? And we see John Whitmire is the mayoral candidate with the police union endorsement, and then there's a whole slate of council members who've taken it. So I think it's up to us to ask the candidates to do better, and I think the candidates need to assess whether the police union meets the standards of their own campaigns. We don't think about it that way. We think about, well, you're offering an endorsement, I'll take it. But I think candidates need to say, does the organization endorsing me meet my standards?
I mean I agree with that wholeheartedly. And those who simply put their all their aim in the police and whatever the police union does, I've always been concerned about that. I think the police union should be there to negotiate pricing and working conditions for police officers, not policy. Again, working conditions and wages. It
Right.
is for the politicians to determine what kind of society we want to have, what part of governing we or what part of law enforcement we want out of police officers, what part of these aspects. I think we have relegated too often. We have relegated too often our freedom, if you will, to police officers that they get almost 50% of our budget. I think is sad. There's so much that we can provide to society that would prevent police officers from having to engage. And in fact, we understand that the engagement of police officers, the deaths that many times that creates is a factor that can be solved if we get to the people beforehand. Neil, the studio is saying that you're dropping out every so often. I think we're kind of the internet is kind of intermittent. I want to tell Eric Hayes, welcome to Politics Done Right on the chat, as well as Alistair Waters, welcome aboard. Thank you guys for
Sure.
being here and watching what you have to say as well. Anyway, you also had another subject you wanted to touch on, Neil, which had to do with the elections in Poland, which actually gives the United States hope that the fascism movement in the United States has been taking hold. Hey, if Poland can do it, the United States can. Go ahead.
That's exactly it. The right wing Law and Justice Party had been running Poland for the last 8 or 9 years. They've been appointing judges. They've been rigging the electoral process. They've been bribing people with all sorts of having children and all of these things to sort of populate Poland in their image. And they were defeated this past week. And the reason that's a relevant local issue here is that it's you think sometimes that Dan Patrick and Ken Paxton and Greg Abbott will never go away, that they're rigging our votes, they're going to come in doing still, if you can believe it. Harris County Republicans to undo the election. So here you had an effort to rig it, and yet it can be done.
And
It
that's what
can
we
be done,
and that's what
and
we
like
intend to do.
Poland, and I found it encouraging.
And I think it's good that you find it encouraging, because that is what, when I speak to a whole lot of people, one of the things that they always say is it's cooked. There's no point. Why vote if it's all going to be, we really don't have control. And as you point out right there, Neil, we do have control. Hey, Jeff, you called in and spoke about taxes. And I mean, it's a subject that, like I said, I like when our audience call in and sometimes add to what we are going to talk about. I really enjoyed going through the tax issues with you, because I think we are more on the same side than you would imagine when it comes to taxes. But what the right does is they convolute many times the way things are. But when you break it down, you realize that they're full of it. So I wish for you to call back at 713-526-5738. Hit extension 2 to communicate, to talk on air. Of course, you can hit extension 1 to donate. And what I'm going to do is I have to do a little quick pitch right now, because I am still at a big donut, which means I have not raised any money yet for this hour. Don't you like the show anymore? I know you do. Anyway, folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. Hit the number 1 to donate. You can also donate at kpft.org, kpft.org. And when you get to there, just select donate and select what you want. Make sure to do it in the name of Politics Done Right. 713-526-5738. What do we have to offer? Look, we are trying to build sustainers right now. Sustainers mean people that decide, I can afford $5 a month. I can afford $10 a month. I can afford $15 a month. That is like, I can buy KPFT one coffee a month, or I can buy KPFT two coffees a month, or I can buy KPFT three coffees a month. And if you do that, we don't have to have these fund drives often anymore, because I think we made a calculation. Jack made a calculation that said, if we can get 2,000 people donating at $25 a piece, I think is what he said, we won't have to have fund drives anymore. Well, I broke it down at, I'm sorry, $50 a piece, 2,000 people. I broke it down and I said, hey, that means if we get 10,000 people giving us $10 a month, we can do it. And folks, what that means is the following. Look, there are more than 10,000 people listening to KPFT. We can actually do that. And we would never have to have fund drives. You would never have to hear me on the screen say, please, I have to hold back Neil from speaking a little bit so that we can raise some money. We don't want to do that. I much prefer hearing Neil's voice, Neil's input, Neil's democracy project. Much prefer that, So let's do that. Let's go ahead And that's, I'm going to throw it back to Jack in a minute, but I want folks to call 713-526-5738. Get the Politics Done Right t-shirt. The Politics Done Right t-shirt is $100. You can amortize that, put that over time. Okay, Alistair Waters just said that the calls are not going through. So when we lost Jeff, it was probably the engine, our calling engine that went bad. So we may need to reboot the telephones. We may need to reboot the telephones, according to Alistair Waters. So let me throw it back to Jack real quick.
Yeah, we seem to be having some issues with our phone here. We're going to restart it in just a second because Jack is busily trying to get these calls in,
Right.
and we're just not having much luck.
Okay,
Well,
I'm glad
yeah,
that it's an issue with the phones now. But folks, you can also give at kpft.org. kpft.org. Hit the donate button. Select the gift that you're given, whatever you want to support us with, please. And remember, do select Politics Done Right as the program you are supporting. Neil, back to you on the issues that we had you on for today. Hopefully, your internet will cooperate a bit better. Today seems to be a day where we are having all kinds of issues. But come on in.
Great. So another local issue for us is our district attorney Kim Ogg, and we've brought up Kim Ogg before. There was an article in the Chronicle back on September 19th that she has been using her office. The article said to go after people she doesn't like, and very often those people are fellow Democrats. She's been going after Judge Hidalgo, Rodney Ellis, and there was a story yesterday in the Chronicle, Jen Rice, that the Harris County Democratic Party, some of its precinct execs are considering a motion of censure for Kim Ogg. It would be at the county executive committee meeting in November, but there's some precinct executives who are sort of the engine. They're sort of the base precinct chairs. They have different names in different places, and would censure Kim Ogg for these attacks on the Democrat that you yourself are a precinct chair.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am a precinct chair. Okay, your internet is coming out.
And
Hey, go
and,
ahead.
and I had heard about this.
Okay, looks like we have somebody online. Come on in.
No, that's okay.
832. Oh, well, we lost them. Go ahead. All right,
Right.
anybody that's calling in right now, start talking. Let's hear you.
Okay. Rough morning.
Hello, this is Harry.
Yeah, Harry, how you doing, Harry? Talk to me.
I'm doing good. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit about both of those things. When you talked about taxes and Jim Jordan, I'll just
Yes.
start off with Jim Jordan. I hope he did not get enough votes again yesterday. He's going to try again today. Like I've been saying for the past few days, he terrifies me. He scares me. I hope that he does not get enough of his Republican colleagues to get him the Speaker of the House seat. He's just a disaster, and we just don't need him. And he's a guy that polarizes people.
All right, that is so true. Let's talk about taxes because he's over. He's done.
Well,
He's
taxes,
cooked.
with the taxes, I understand where Jeff's coming from and all that. But if people don't pay their fair share of taxes, then we can't have roads, we can't have schools, we can't have police, we can't have bridges. When you have those bond initiatives for these things, for these projects, that's taxpayer money going on that. And that's what you do. That's what you explain, Eberto. You explain that very well. Tom Hartman does. People like Randy Rhodes, Barney Arneson, Bernie Sanders, a lot of those people explain that. When Ronald Reagan said that government is the problem, government is supposed to be your friend. And like you said, promote the general welfare. One hand washes the other. When taxpayers pay money, then we can benefit from that with the goods and services.
Now,
So
I want to break in a second, and let me tell you why. You're absolutely right. First of all, First of all, you're absolutely right, Harry. But there's something else because a lot of times the rich people convince poor people that they're paying too much, too much in taxes in order for rich people to get a reduction in their taxes. And then the way
Exactly.
some people see it is they look and say, oh, look at Bill Gates. He is paying over $1 billion a year in taxes as if that's a problem, right? I want to I
Right.
want to warn folks of something, okay? And listen to this clearly. One, no person on this planet has personally done enough work to earn $1 billion. So that is money that was not earned in the first place. But that said, anybody
Yes.
who is making that kind of money, the other people that are working for him or her, they are using roads, they're using all the infrastructure and the spoils of society to support that billionaire. So that billionaire deservedly should be paying a hell of a lot more taxes than everybody else because again, he is using the country's natural resources and all the other resources of the country more so than anybody else. So don't let the numbers or the large numbers fool you. Anybody that's making a lot of money, they are in the aggregate consuming a lot more resources than that person that's making a little, and justifiably, they should be paying a hell of a lot more taxes. So don't sit back and
Exactly.
feel sorry for the billionaire because, again, they're a
Exactly.
billionaire not because they're good, they're a billionaire because they knew how to use you better than most. Go ahead, Harry, before I go to place marker.
Exactly, as you stated there, and the low income people don't make enough to pay enough in taxes, but yeah, the billionaires should pay their fair share, to, so we can continue to have goods and service and make this thing go. You don't have taxes, you can't have police, you can't have libraries. You know that tax dollars is what pays their salary. You got to
Thank
have
you, my
that.
brother. I got to go, Harry, to the next
Well,
call because
one other thing. I wanted to say, Howard Reynolds, thank you for playing Caravan Dreams uh, by Peter White. He knows how much I love Peter White. But I wanted to add one other thing. He said that that's a rock and roll show. So are
yes.
we able to request anything,
Yes,
or
you can. He
or is
told
that
you that.
rock?
He told you that. Brother Harry, he told you that. So he'll be waiting for
Okay.
your call, Brother Harry. But hey, before that, Harry,
Also,
why don't you tell Harry? Why don't you tell Neil hello? Neil has been kind enough to wake up early in the morning to be with us this morning.
thank. Yeah, I like what you're saying as well, Neil, about the tax project and the Houston democracy. I enjoy that as well. Yeah, the other thing was I was
No,
going to
no,
say
no,
that.
Harry. No other thing, brother. I love you, but you're taking
Okay,
all my
okay,
time.
okay.
All right, let's go ahead and thank Ravi. I want to thank Ravi for your kind contribution, Ravi Ferreira. Please, please, folks, uh, do exactly what he just did. Call 713-526-5738. Hit extension number 1. And folks, we are having a bit of technical problems today. I ask for your forgiveness. Neil is having some connection problems with us. We had some telephone problems that our geniuses have fixed. But I want to thank very much Ravi. Thank you so kindly for your kind contribution. Let's go to place marker. Oh, I think that just means place marker. That is my fault. That is not really somebody on here.
No,
Anyway,
let's not go to place marker. That's actually holding right now because we seem to be having problems with line 1.
oh, so it's
I
line
can't hear
one.
Jack. Yeah, I can't hear Jack when he calls or when I
Oh,
call
okay.
in. He answers
Okay.
the phone and says, "Hey, this is Jack. What do you want?" And
You
I
can,
can't hear him say that. So
okay. You,
we're just going to
I
put a
want
place marker there.
I want to show you guys about our geniuses in the office. He diagnosed in real time that on this system with many telephone lines, something is wrong with line 1, and he found a way to block that line so that the others come through. talking about our geniuses in the studio. Anyway, folks, we're waiting on your call. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Hit extension 2 to be on air. Hit extension 1 to donate. And we do need more contributions to keep this on air. While that other call comes in, Neil, is there anything else that you have to say? And I'm sorry that we are having connection problems, Neil.
Well, sometimes the tin
yeah,
cans
well,
and string don't always
just
come
say,
through.
in terms of tax money, keeping it local, the hospital bond.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're still having those
So I just
connection
wanted to
problems.
mention, speaking about.
Yeah, we're getting that delay. So let's go to Derek. Come on in, Derek.
Okay.
Hey, hey, good
Okay.
morning, everybody. You know, I just want to say quickly because I've been hearing the callers talking about taxes. You know, Roberto, the deal you said it exactly right. What the preamble said, but in the United States, man, the educational system proves that all that what those billionaires had said at that time. They said that they're not trying to make thinkers. They're interested only in to try to make workers. And
Right.
it's unfortunate that here we are in 2023. Many of the people still, whenever it comes, hey, good morning. Whenever the people talks about taxes, you're still speaking as though you are nothing but a working slave, and that's what you are. And if you take the scales away from your eyes, you will see that that's what you've been programmed to believe, and that's what you've been programmed to think. And it's ugly. It's an ugly truth, but it is the truth.
Derek,
That's all I
Derek,
say, bro.
you nailed it. And Neil, let me tell you, because we're having some connection problems with Neil, there are times, and it's like a 5 to 6 second delay. What I'm going to ask Neil is when he has something to say, just bust right in. We're going to try to calibrate it in such a manner that it works, because Neil always has something to add to the subject. But I want to tell you, Derek, that you nailed it. A lot of people get upset when I say we are nothing that I call us antiseptic slavery. As a black man personally, right? That is what the slave used to be. You could also always identify the slave that way, but as you ran out of colorized people, if you will, I like to use all these fancy terms, right? Everybody had to become slaves to the system. If you take a look at how capitalism grows, right? It's a math problem. It's a math problem.
Yeah.
And eventually it eats up everybody, because you can't have one sector growing at a faster sector in one economy. It's a mathematical impossibility. I explained that in several of my books, right? And so what happens now is that whereas you could tell my white brothers and sisters, hey, at least you're not them. So work a little bit harder, but you're not them. But now you've taken all you could from them. Now everybody else have to become in. That's why everybody have to be doubling up in homes, paying higher rents, all of that, because you got to feed the people who are making much more than you are. You have to feed them. And you feed them by becoming a part of their food. So we are all now, whereas we could say those other people that look a bit differently are the food, they're the engines of society. Now everybody has to join the fold to take care of the few, and to make sure that we don't think things are all that bad. We then make sure that you can have the existence of a Jay-Z or a Oprah Winfrey or these folks who
Right.
then, when they become that, listen to what Jay-Z says now. Jay-Z thinks it's not about color, it's not about race, it's about capital. Jay-Z just recently said, my brother-in-law or my cousin asked me for $5,000. I've said, it's not that easy. $5,000 isn't even a penny to Jay-Z. It's a disease, folks. It's a disease. Hey, Derek, I have a lot of calls, but I thank you for nailing it. Give me a quicker so I can go to Melissa. I mean to Emmanuel, then Melissa. Derek, give me a quick one.
Oh no, bro. No, brother. You had hit it on the nail. It's just, man, that with, to be honest with you, in truth, capitalism definitely is not a fair system. It's just not. and this is what the people are waking up to now, and they
Right.
realizing it.
And
Thank you, sir.
the other thing, Derek, that I always want to say, the race issue
Uh-huh.
was necessary for capitalism, but we are all in this together. All of us need to realize that we are all our brother's keeper. It's not about race, it's not about ethnicity, it's about a failed system. Come on in, Emmanuel.
Good morning. Good
Good morning.
morning. Hey,
Yes, sir.
I served U.S. Army
Yes.
for a long time,
Yes.
and we get, after retirement, we get, some benefits.
Yes.
Some areas are tax free and so on, and you get to ride and they toll for free and etc. Your license plate costs 50 cents because you are U.S. Army veteran.
Yes.
Well, the system also exists in the United States Army.
Yes.
And you can look at it and say, well, okay, the system is benefiting the white brothers and sisters, and neglecting the black and Hispanics who are also serving in the U.S. Army. You can look at it like that too. But I believe at the end of the day, the individual got to come to some realization that is facing a system that has been in place for a very, very long time. And you have to go out at it with the strength, your intelligence, your humbleness, your courage. That way you can succeed and achieve what you can in your own right. Because if you wait on the system or you wait for the politicians to fix it, you'll wait a very long time. This is the United States of America. Yes, it's a great country. But I can tell you, there are other places that you can live very, very well, like in Panama, and don't have to pay all these taxes.
¿Tú eres panameño?
Yo soy panameño.
Yo soy panameño también. Okay, I mean, you have the same philosophy that I live by. In other words, you go, yes, the system, we can try to change the system that's been here for a long time, and that's what we are doing. But at the same time that we're trying to change the system, you must be able to use your own intelligence, like our brother Neil and everybody else is doing, to succeed and move forward. That's a mentality we grew up with back in Panama. That's a mentality a lot of folks here believe in, but we have to get that to be believed broadly. Did I get that right, sir?
You got it right. And I'm going to leave this caveat with you. What do you believe of the presidential race in Panama?
Oh my God.
I'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later, hermano. All right, let's go to Melissa. And before we go to Melissa, Neil has been sitting down there waiting. I just want Neil to add something because my brother's been on the phone on the line back. Come on, Neil, tell me something. Oh, it's.
Oh, okay. Well, I've enjoyed the calls and I've appreciated it. I've just been in agreement, and I've been keeping a little quiet because we have having our technical difficulties. But I've needed the calls, and I have been in agreement with the sentiment.
Well, great. I'm glad to hear that. Let's go to Melissa. Come on in, Melissa. Great to have you here.
Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Alberto. Good
Buenos
morning,
dias.
Daniel. I know you guys have a lot of issues with the line. I just wanted to do a quick chime that yesterday was great. I think we would have had more tails in the seats if we didn't do that back and forth about it not being to that yet yesterday. And, today is another one. But that yesterday was about Fifth Ward. And, Fifth Ward got old issues, So it was great. I really liked Miss Robin Williams. Y'all look her up. She's a sweetheart. She used to be a police officer. She did time in the military as well. And she's probably got one of those endorsements that you guys are talking about. So I have to, invest in looking to see what that. Gallego found out that he has very short-tempered. He let the 88-year-old woman razzle him up, and he walked off stage. That was interesting.
Gallego did?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh my God. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. And then there was another. I'm upset at myself that I couldn't write their names down. I couldn't really see it
Uh-huh.
that well. But it's one in the middle. He's I don't. He's a Muslim
Oh,
or
okay. Yeah, I know who you
um.
mean.
What's
I
his
know who you
name?
mean.
Okay, okay. He had some really strong points as well.
MJ
So
Khan.
Khan.
Khan,
Thanks, Neil. Yeah.
let me lie. Don't let me lie. But yeah, so I'll be there tonight. To see you guys' show. But yeah, it was
Well,
very interesting yesterday.
hey,
There's a
make
lot
sure
of
to go meet Howard in person, Melissa. He's a great guy.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
He
All right.
he
Thank
will.
you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for calling in, Melissa. Let's jump to Tag real quickly.
Hey, Egberto, how you doing?
How you doing, my brother? Talk to me.
I just wanted to bring up the idea of taxes in relationship to GDP, gross domestic product.
Yes, sir.
As a gross domestic product increases in our country, it takes more infrastructure, and so then we have to build new infrastructure plus maintain the old infrastructure. It takes a lot of money, and the Freedom Caucus right now wants to cut government spending. If you want GDP to increase and have more jobs and more money going around, funding of the government has to go up too. There's no way to increase GDP and cut funding of the government. It just can't happen. So
Right.
I think people should remember that when they talk about taxes.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tag. And it's important for us to know these things. I mean, Eric Hayes says capitalism pays for stuff. Capitalism pays for nothing. The human being
Right.
pays it all. Capitalism uses the human capital for everything that it does. There's no magical thing about capitalism. There's no magical. It's all about what we are able, we the people, to produce. Don't buy into the fallacies. I mean, it's so sometimes we are taught we are taught something over and over and over and over again. We can't let it go until and that's what the plutocracy depends on. Tag, thank you very much for calling in. Anything else you want to say? Give in 30 seconds.
Just if capitalism is to succeed, it needs the government infrastructure to support it, which means that the government has to have money to support this infrastructure. And that's one thing that Biden has pushed the whole time, is that we need to take care of our infrastructure. So thank you. Have a good day. I'll go. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Tag. Okay, I got to do a quick pitch here, folks. I've only got one supporter so far for today, Ravi Pereira. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so kindly for that. I need to get some more, so please call in 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Hit extension number 1 to donate. Please donate in the name of Politics Done Right. We have a lot of options. You can get our T-shirt. I think our T-shirt is $100. The Politics Done Right T-shirt, $100 for, and again, you can amortize it. You can do that over time. You don't have to pay it all at once. We're trying to build our sustaining base, which means somebody gives us a coffee a month, or 2 coffee a month, 3 coffees a month, 4 coffees a month, 5 coffees a month, and that is $5 a month. You don't miss that, but having a whole lot of people that do that at the same time really help the station stay alive, prevents us from. We are hoping that if we can get enough thousands of people being sustainers, we wouldn't have to interrupt our programming with these asking for cash, because we have a sustaining base. So if you have the ability, the wherewithal to do that, give us a call at 713-526-5738. Hit extension number 1 to donate. Of course, you can just give a one-time donation saying, I don't like to have things every month, so I'll just give you a one-time donation and do whatever we can. This is a very important show. We bring luminaries like Neil Aquino, who's out there hitting the pavement on our behalves. We bring folks like Daniel Cohen, who's out there working. We have great callers like Melissa, who always has something to tell us. We have Harry. We have so many people. Johnny, the mayor of Politics Done Right, we call him. It's not only about politics done right. It's also about you. It's also about community. It's also about us among each other, learning and doing what's best for our body politic. 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. I saw your eyeball move, Neil, so I'm hoping that that means the connection is back. Tell me something.
Well, very good. Well, I just want to encourage folks to donate. Let me say that in being on this show the last 5 or 6 weeks with you, I see the care and effort and time you put into it. So I would encourage folks to donate, and that is how stations like KPFT do maintain their lifeblood. So let me just echo what you're saying, and let me just share with you're too modest to say it yourself, but let me just share with the listeners the effort and time and care and the respect for your listeners that I've seen you put into the show. And I just want to remind folks, as last 5 minutes, early voting begins for 23rd, and the municipal elections are coming up. My effort is the Houston Democracy Project, looking to inspire, organize, strengthen pro-democracy coalitions in Houston and Harris County, with an emphasis on us as rank and file citizens, pressing our elected leaders to do what's right. They're only going to do what's right if we force them. They're very tied and wedded to these systems. Even if these systems deliver authoritarian outcomes, they'll stick with them. They'll stick with them and tell us everything is okay. And then the day will come when it's really, really not okay. And then here we'll be.
Neil, give us your website, because I want people to read your blogs. You have some great blogs.
I appreciate that. It's neilaquino.com, NeilaQuino.com, neilaquino.com. And also, if you Google Houston Democracy Project, it'll come up. Houston Democracy Project or neilaquino.com.
Thank you, guys. Let me throw it back to the studio for some closers. Studio.
Oh, we're back here gluing tin cans and string together. Jack, what, you got some wisdom?
Yeah, I got a little closing statement here. It's one I've used before. Capitalism is an animal that only knows hunger, and it devours all, even the people wielding it. Watch the people that are wielding it.
Well, what kind of animal?
Well, I don't want to call it a dog because I love dogs, but it's some kind of strange animal, some corporate animal.
Is it a rat?
It's like a rat. I mean, they chew things away. They take things away from people.
Oh, those rats.
Those Grinches.
I'm telling you.
Oh,
beware,
man, the rats.
Those Scrooges.
I know. And they're bums too.
Rats and Scrooges.
Hey, guys, you're giving me more time than I deserve, man. With your banter, you're giving me more time than I deserve. I want to thank Neil Aquino for being here. Neil wakes up in the morning to come here with me on Thursdays. I want to thank Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Bibber for making this stuff work, man, for making this stuff work. I want to thank the audience for listening. I want to thank the callers. I have some great callers from all persuasions, from all different points of view. Love you guys. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
This fall, Discovery Green and KPFT are teaming up to discover Houston's top bands.